Hello viewers, I'm Angie Shirey with INTV, and on the show we will be getting to know some of the candidates that are up for election for the March 6th primary. Today I'm with Scott Haselman, who is up for re-election for Fulton County Prosecutor. How are you doing today, Scott?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. So what city do you currently reside in?
I live in Swanton, and I grew up in Swan Creek Township, went to Swanton High School, so I've lived there, for a long time.
So you've lived in Fulton County your whole life?
32 years.
32 years,
yep.
Wow. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been married to for 19 years to my wife Tammy, and we've got a 13-month-old son Gabe. My parents, Dennis and Linda, still live in Swan Creek Township where I grew up, and my brother Ted and his wife Jen and their kids, and my brother Wade and his wife Ann, and their kids also live in the Swanton area.
Cool. Can you tell us a little bit about your professional life?
Sure. After graduating from Swanton High School, I went on to the University of Toledo, got a degree in finance in 1992, went right on to the University of Toledo College of Law, graduated from there in 1995 as the class valedictorian. So I've been a lawyer for 16 years. From there I went to one of the bigger law firms in Toledo, Robinson, Curfew & O'Connell, where I spent the first 13 years of my career. Involved in complex litigation, had cases in the Ohio Supreme Court and the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is the federal appeals court located in Cincinnati, and they hear all federal appeals from cases that originate in the states of Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Then 4 years ago I was approached when Roger Nagel retired about the possibility of running for this job, and was fortunate enough to win the Republican primary in the general election, and for the last 3 years it's been my privilege to be the Fulton County prosecutor and represent the people of Fulton County.
Awesome. So you have a little bit of experience. You're currently the Fulton County prosecutor.
Yes, I am.
Why is it so important for you to hold that position as prosecutor?
Well, the prosecutor's job is, everyone sees on TV, the criminal aspect of the job, which is obviously very important, but it's only really half the job. We are also the legal advisor to, for example, all of the county elected officials, Board of Commissioners, Treasurer, Auditor. We represent the Board of DD, Board of Health, Soil and Water, local schools, libraries, all the township trustees, all the zoning inspectors. So we have a very, very broad job description, for lack of a better term,
Sure.
And we're really involved in making the government work the way it's supposed to as the legal advisor, and obviously protecting the citizens in our role as the prosecutor on behalf of the state.
Sure. So lots of responsibilities.
Lots of responsibilities. It's
Sure.
16 years of experience that comes in very helpful, very useful.
So what are some of your favorite things about living in Fulton County?
Fulton County is really a great place for families. There's lots of things to do. Each town has its own festival that you can, very family friendly. Plus, the county is set up that a lot of people are very involved in their communities, and there's lots of opportunities to be involved in local activities if you want to be. Homecoming here in Wasion, Swanton has the Corn Festival, and those are just examples of people in the community getting together, deciding they want something to happen, and really making it happen. Sure,
yeah, just a great sense of community.
Great sense of community.
So why should Fulton County residents vote for you on March 6th?
Well, in my 3 years, what I've been able to do is I've focused on three main things: trying to improve the communication between the prosecutor's office and all those people we represent and work with, law enforcement or governmental officials. Obviously, with the local, or the economy in the nation being the way it was, to focus on the fiscal aspect of the job, and to focus on obviously being tough on crime and protecting the citizens. And people always ask me, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. And for example, with respect to improving the communication, what I've done is every year for the township, there's 12 townships in Fulton County, and I make an annual visit to each one of them to make sure they're getting the advice they need, getting the assistance they need, making sure that they get the information in a timely manner that they need to really do their jobs. Mm-hmm. And we put on seminars for the township zoning inspectors, township officials, and we've also put on seminars for local law enforcement to help them, issues that are come up, changes in the law, things of that nature. But what we're really trying to do is build a relationship over time with these guys, so that if something happens, they feel comfortable enough to pick up the phone and say, Scott, I don't understand why this happened in a particular case, or I don't understand why this and not that. Mm-hmm. And what happens is 9 times out of 10 it's just a misunderstanding. There's just a disconnect as to what happened, and if you have a good relationship you can smooth things over, and 9 times out of 10 it's just a misunderstanding that once everybody understands, everyone's on the same page, and you prevent problems from festering. The other thing that has happened is I've been able to reduce the size of the staff. Someone retired and I didn't replace them, and reorganize the office. I used my experience from the 13 years at the other law firm to make it more efficient, and that has allowed us to save almost 10% on the budget, which is important given the way things are nowadays. And then finally, focusing on particularly crimes against children, because those are crimes that just perpetuate themselves off into the future, you know, generation to generation. And then fighting drugs, because drugs is an underlying cause of 2/3 to 3/4 of all the crime in this county. When you look at all the drug crimes themselves, plus the crimes people commit while under the influence, or the crimes they commit to gain money to go buy drugs because they can't hold a job because they're addicted. We try to, you know, get treatment for those who are addicted, and get prison sentences to those who are the sellers, the pushers, and try to use other aspects as well, like forfeiture. If you use your car in a drug crime, we try to take your car, things like that, to disincentivize people, deter them from coming here and doing that kind of activity.
Sure. Okay. So I'd like to just kind of let you have the stage for a little bit. Is there any last words or final things you'd like to say to the viewers for them to keep in mind when they go to vote?
I just think that given my experience, 16 years as a lawyer, my education, my leadership skills, that, you know, I believe I'm the best candidate to be the Fulton County prosecutor, and I just would ask everybody for their support on March 6th.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
With us. All right.
Nice to have met you.
Thank you. You too. Welcome back. I am now with Stacey Burns, who is up for election for Fulton County Prosecutor. How are you doing today, Stacey?
Good, Angie. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
How are
you
you?
as well. Good. Thank you for asking.
Good.
So what city do you currently reside in?
I live in Delta.
Okay. And how long have you lived in Fulton County?
I've lived in Fulton County most of my life. I was born and raised in Delta. I did go to Ypsilanti for undergrad, so I spent a little bit of time in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and I also lived in Bryan for a little while.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. I was born and raised in Delta, like I said. My parents are Steve and Teresa Schelt. My grandparents are Jim and Verna Thaler, Clarence and Maxine Schelt.
Okay.
I did my undergrad in criminology at Eastern Michigan, and I did my law degree at the University of Toledo.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about your professional life?
Yes. My professional life actually started when I was in law school. In law school, I started as a prosecutor intern with the City of Toledo.
Okay.
I mainly worked in their domestic violence unit. I did that for about 2.5 years. After that, I also interned with the 6th District Court of Appeals, which is in Toledo, and I did that under Judge Lanzinger, who is now Justice Lanzinger at the Ohio Supreme Court. I also have been trained as a mediator. That's kind of a new way of doing dispute resolutions. So that took several weeks to get that training done, and I've used that several times. It's very helpful in negotiating. I'm also trained as a guardian ad litem, which is maybe an aspect that people aren't as familiar with. But a guardian ad litem is someone who looks out for children. So it could be a high conflict divorce case, and it also is in abuse, neglect, dependency cases. So I represent the voice or the best interest of the child.
Okay.
So.
Was there anything else you wanted to touch on? I'm sorry.
I was just going to add that I've been in private practice, and I've also worked at a law firm.
Okay.
So one of the things that I feel is to my advantage is I've had an opportunity to work in Fulton County, Henry County, Williams County, Lucas County, and Defiance County. So I've kind of been able to see a little bit of how each of those counties do things, and what I really want to do for Fulton County is bring their best attributes back here and put them into play.
Okay, so you've kind of been all over.
Yeah.
So why do you personally feel it's so important to be Fulton County prosecutor?
At this point, I think it's personal to me because I feel like Fulton County really deserves to have a prosecutor in the job who is up there representing the victims in court on a regular basis. Okay. In addition, you know, there are two aspects of this job, a civil side and a criminal side, and the prosecutor really needs to be interested in both sides. And I think at this point, Fulton County really deserves someone who's interested in both sides.
Okay. What are some of your favorite things about living in Fulton County?
Some of my favorite things, first of all, my family and my friends are here. That's really important to me, so that's really been very helpful. The other things that I really enjoy, and I thought about this in terms of what did I really miss when I was living in Ypsi, but just some of the simple things, walking down the street, being able to wave to someone and people not think you're crazy. So it's nice, you know, they wave back and you just have this common bond, so that's a really cool thing. Some of the other things is just the small community etiquette. People hold the door open for you when you come in. People say hello. Most of the time people are genuinely interested in how you are, or at least politely say, you know, how are you today? And finally, of course, the Fulton County Fair. I think it's a really cool event. It's awesome to see all the cooperation in the community, all the volunteers who come together to put this on. And I mean, I think it really shows the spirit of our community when you put something that big together, so that's a really cool thing.
Yep, we're lucky to have that. And why should Fulton County residents vote for you on March 6th?
Well, on March 6th, Fulton County should vote for me for several reasons. I'm going to hand you one of those just so you can follow along.
Thank you.
The first thing is I really want to introduce a new program that's going to cut some costs here in Fulton County. That program is called the Diversion Program. It's a program that's been used effectively in Williams County since the 70s. Okay. So they've used it quite a long time. The way it works is it takes low-level offenders and it forces them to admit that they made a mistake and then take responsibility for it. So for instance, if you were the victim of a theft offense, you, the victim, want repaid. I mean, that's the most important thing to you. You don't necessarily care what happens with the other half. So this program makes them go in, they admit that they did something wrong, they pay you, victim, back, and they're monitored for a year. What that allows them then, though, is to come back into society. Without having a label attached to them or a stigma, so that they can get a job and be a productive citizen still in society. The other part of that is, I don't know how familiar you are with the legal system, but the way the process normally works is you have an offense, you go in, and then you have several court appearances. This diversion program starts at the beginning and it knocks out all of these other appearances, which cleans up our court docket and certainly cuts down on court-appointed costs.
Sure.
So, secondly, again, I can't emphasize enough, I feel like Fulton County really deserves to have their prosecutor in the courtroom. You know, if you have a high-profile case, for instance, in Henry County, you're going to see Jay Hanna in the courtroom. If you have a high-profile case in Williams County, their elected prosecutor, Tom Thompson, is going to be in the courtroom. And I think Fulton County deserves absolutely the same thing. You know, maybe you can't be there for every single case, and in fact, that's probably impossible. But on those important cases, it sends a strong message to offenders that, in fact, it's so important you're dealing with me, the elected prosecutor. So, and finally, just returning to a professional atmosphere. We've really had a breakdown in communication between the prosecutor's office and the other offices or the defense attorneys. That has really slowed things down. So and part of that is because there were some changes implemented in the prosecutor's office, and only one person is handling the felony caseload, which is quite significant. So it's difficult for him to have time to negotiate on a regular basis with the other attorneys. So it's dragging things out longer and longer. So while their budget was cut by almost 10%, the court-appointed fees went through the roof because the process takes so long now.
So I'd like to just give you a moment to say any last words that you would like the Fulton County residents to keep in mind when they go to cast their vote on Tuesday, March 6th.
Thank you for being here with me and allowing me to have this opportunity here today.
Sure.
And more importantly, law and order returns when you elect Stacey Burns for county prosecutor. I think that's just really important for them to know.
Okay.
Well, I would appreciate their vote.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you.
You too. Welcome back. I'm here with Bill Rofena, who is running for Fulton County Commissioner. Hi, Bill. How are you doing today?
Just great, Angie.
Good. So what city do you currently reside in?
It's in the fine city of Archibald, Angie.
Okay. And how long have you lived in Fulton County?
Well, I'm 62 years old, and I've lived here all but about 5 years of my life when I was over at BGSU.
All right. And can you tell us and the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, Angie, I grew up on a farm outside of Archibald. Dale and Marie Rivenall was my parents, and had a great time in the farm. It was a lot of fun through 4-H, through raising cattle and so forth. Then went on, like I said, to BGSU and started businesses and come to where I am today.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about your professional life, maybe a little bit more about your business?
Yeah, when I graduated from BG, I went and came back to Archibald, and my father had a clothing store as I'd grown up in town, and spent some time working there and so forth, so I had a little bit of retail background. And then I'd always grown up around sports and really loved athletics. So some people in Archibald said, boy, we really need a sporting goods store in town. And I said, I started a sporting goods store. That means you're going to buy stuff there? And they said they would, and it turned out that they did. And was able to be somewhat successful there in town, and later bought stores in Wauseon and in Ottawa and in Bryan, Ohio.
Great. Do you still own those stores then?
No, I sold in around 2000. I sold the stores, and then went on after that and got involved in some the local politics with the city council there in Archibald.
Sure. So why do you personally feel it's so important to be the Fulton County Commissioner? Well,
I think I have a tremendous love for this county, and I think there are tremendous challenges ahead of us with the economy the way it is, the government regulation that we're faced with all the time, and I think through my business background, I can help us be successful through those times.
Sure. And what are some of your favorite things about Fulton County?
Well, I think the friendliness of the people would be the number one thing. It's been quite an experience being out here campaigning for the first time, and throughout the county when I go, the people have greeted me in the different coffee shops and so forth with a smile usually, and sometimes some friendly ribbing about running for county commissioner. And so through the years at calling on the different schools and the athletic directors and the coaches, you know, we build up friendships, and just a lot of really good people in this county. Secondly is when you travel around different places, whether it be in cities around or maybe in other states, I constantly don't lock my car doors, and people look at me and say, "What are you doing?" And I say, "Well, back home, never worry about locking the car doors." Or when I go up somewhere in the afternoon, do I lock up my house? No. I've got my neighbors around. They're keeping an eye on things. And that feeling of safety, I can't imagine living any other way.
Yes, yes, it does have a great hometown feeling, I agree. So why should Fulton County residents vote for you on March 6th?
Well, I look at the job as a Fulton County Commissioner being highly related to business, and I think after being in business for 25 years, having tens of thousands of customers to deal with, I think that's a lot like dealing with the multitude of people here in Fulton County. I think when a problem and a concern comes up, I think the citizen wants you to treat them with respect, investigate the problem that they're concerned about with, and get back to them with in a timely manner. And that's the goal I will have as a county commissioner. Secondly, I think my years on city council give me a good perspective of what the job entails. Although it is much more extensive than being a city councilman, I think my times on the Street and Sidewalk Committee, time on the Finance Committee there, will give me the benefit of that experience. Will work out well in this position.
All right, so Bill, I'd like to just open up this stage for you. Are there any closing remarks that you would like to give to the viewers to keep in mind when they go to cast their vote on March 6th?
Yes, Angie, I think one thing to remember is it's a very important, very difficult job. It's also very time-consuming. Being retired, I've got the time, I've got the passion to be your Fulton County Commissioner. I would appreciate your vote on March the 6th.
Okay, well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today, Bill.
Thank you, Angie.
Hello and welcome back. I am now with Dean Genter, who is up for election for Fulton County Commissioner. Hi Dean, how are you doing today?
Good, Angie, how are you?
Good, thanks for asking. So what city do you currently reside in?
Well, I don't live in a city or village. I live on our 4th generation family farm,
Okay.
2 miles south of Pettisville,
Okay.
and I've been there all my married life.
Okay. How long have you lived in Fulton County?
I'm a lifelong resident of Fulton County, born and raised right here in Fulton County.
Cool. And can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, again, I'm Dean Genter, and I'm serving in my 3rd term as Fulton County Commissioner.
Okay.
I have been married to my wife, Kathy, for 32 years. We have 3 wonderful children. My daughter, Andrea Thiel, and her husband, Rich. My son, AJ Genter, and his wife, Keisha, and my daughter, Amy, and Amy Langendorfer, and her husband, Sean. And I have 4 wonderful granddaughters, Maddie and McKenna Thiel, and Ava and Allie Genter, and we're so happy to have them part of our lives. And
Awesome.
one thing I want to stress is all my family lives right here in Fulton County as well.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about your professional life?
Currently, I've been serving, again, 12 years as County Commissioner. Also, I have a successful farming operation along with a custom combining service, and I've been doing that for 35 years as well.
Very cool. Why do you personally feel it's so important to be Fulton County Commissioner?
Well, personally, I think my agricultural background and being involved in our Fulton County Farm Bureau and the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation spurred my interest in becoming a county commissioner because of the reasons of wanting to protect our agricultural interests that we have here in Fulton County. But as I've been a county commissioner, and I guess the other thing I want to emphasize as a county commissioner, drainage is a big issue in our county, not only for farming purposes, but also for our residents that live out in the rural Fulton County. I believe my experience as a successful farmer, knowing drainage, knowing ditches, and working with our soil and water conservation district to help enhance our ditch projects with filter strips and other conservation practices to improve the quality of our water that's going into our ditches and streams.
Sure.
So I think that is of vital importance for a county commissioner to have. Also, being, again, a 12-year commissioner, we've had, these have been tough economic times, and we've had work on our county budgets. And one thing I think the public doesn't realize, and I think they always think county government and government in general continues to, their expenses are out of control, but I want to make sure that people understand in Fulton County that in the last 12 years as county commissioner, our expenses at the county level in our general fund have been flat. And we've been able to do that with early retirements and not hiring people back. Over the last 10 years, we have done our county, providing county service with 10 less people. And so we're doing more with less, and still providing the services that our county residents come to expect without any layoffs or any cuts in revenue or cuts in providing our county extension services or soil and water services that I think our residents come to expect that are important services for Fulton County.
Sure. And what are some of your favorite things about living in Fulton County?
Well, I think just the rural atmosphere that is in our county. You know, you can live in our 7 communities that are here in Fulton County, but it's just that rural setting, laid-back setting that we have here in Fulton County. But also, you know, every community revolves around their school. And with that, if you go to any basketball game or any sporting event here in Fulton County at any of our schools, you can see how people get involved in their communities and support their communities, not only at their school, but in their community festivals and other activities that go on in the county and in their communities. And you know, I've been able to see that firsthand over the 12 years as a commissioner, being involved in our parades and other events that go on in Fulton County, and seeing how people get involved in their communities and promote their communities. That's really a great thing, and I think you can't forget about our Fulton County Fair. I mean, that is a great asset to Fulton County. My family grew up at the fair, again, being in livestock. Our family was involved in livestock shows. It is a great tool, 4-H and FFA, and being able to take projects to the fair and to showcase those at the fair is a great asset for building future leaders for young people here in Fulton County.
Sure. And so, why should Fulton County residents vote for you on March 6th?
Well, I think my 35 years in a successful farming operation, along with 12 years already serving as your Fulton County Commissioner, I believe I bring a out-of-the-box approach in thinking when it comes to solving problems. I know county budgets, I know county programs, I have a great working relationship with all the county elected officials. I have experience working with our state and federal legislators, and I have brought back valuable resources back to Fulton County for Fulton County projects. And as Commissioner, I have had to ask the tough questions. And I base my decisions on what is best for Fulton County as a whole. So I believe those attributes, I think, are important to being a county commissioner. And so, you know, that's some of the things that I have brought to the table over the last 12 years.
Okay, great. And I'm just going to kind of put the spotlight on you for a little bit. Is there any last words or anything you would like the residents to keep in mind when they go to cast their vote on March 6th?
You know, I think leadership and experience, again, are important. I think in these tough economic times, having somebody there that's had the experience, knows the knowledge, knows the history of the county, and knows what we need to get done for the future. I think, you know, I want to make sure, and I promise to the voters of Fulton County, that I will continue to try and strive to make sure that Fulton County continually stays financially strong. I want to make sure we continue to work with our business and industries here in Fulton County to make sure we have quality jobs for our families to continue to live, work, and raise their families here in Fulton County. So again, I want to say I would appreciate your vote March 6th, and again, you need to vote Republican, and I could use all the support that you could give me and to continue another term as your Fulton County Commissioner. Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, Dean. It was very nice to get to meet you. Yep, thank you. Yep.
Okay. Welcome back. I am now with Rick Sluter, who is up for election for Fulton County Sheriff. Hi, Rick. How are you doing?
Very good today. How are you?
Good. So what city do you currently reside in?
Wauseon. I live north of town on County Road H.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. And then, how long have you lived in Fulton County?
43 years, all my life. I've always been a Wauseon resident. Yep.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Personal life-wise, married to my wife Camille. We've been married for 16 years. We got 4 boys, and all of them are involved in the 4-H FFA projects, and we're involved with the Wauseon FFA alumni here at the school, and we attend Trinity Lutheran Church, and just enjoy being part of the Wauseon community.
Awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about your professional life?
Sure. I've been a police officer for 23 years. The last 21 years I've served the village of Delta, and I'm currently the chief of police there. Okay. I'm a member of the Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police, and I also graduated from their Executive Leadership College back in 2009. In addition, excuse me, in addition to that, I'm a assistant chief with the Wauseon Fire Department here, and with those duties, I'm a fire instructor, a fire safety inspector. I teach leadership and officer development courses for the Ohio Fire Academy in Reynoldsburg near Columbus, and enjoy doing that very much. The fire department's been a great way to be a part of the community on a volunteer basis.
Sure. And why do you feel why do you personally feel it's so important to be Fulton County Sheriff?
Because it's time for a new direction in law enforcement in Fulton County. We've always been based a little bit on taking calls for service and reacting to them. We need to switch the direction of law enforcement to a prevention-oriented nature. We have a lot of seniors being taken advantage of online, a lot of children being taken advantage of online. Our drug problems here in Fulton County are growing, and we need to work together in Fulton County as a cohesive law enforcement unit to solve these problems. And a little bit because I know I can break down the egos a little bit and not make it so much of the law enforcement administrator, the public official making the office about themselves. I want to return Fulton County Public Safety to being about the people we serve and being a visible leader to the people.
Okay. And what are some of your favorite things about living in Fulton County?
Fulton County is a great place. It's a wonderful community to raise your family in. It's a nice, safe place to raise your family in. And the neat thing about Fulton County is every town has their own identity that usually it revolves around their high schools and their sports teams or around the manufacturing they offer. It's a competitive nature that gives our kids a really good environment to grow up in, but yet when we have problems, Fulton County really seems to come together to help each other out. We had the tornado here 2 years ago that devastated parts of Delta, Swanton area, Southern, and the whole community came together to fix them things. And I think you take examples like the Fulton County Fair. We got the best fair in Ohio, and all of Fulton County comes together to make that happen and to just make it a great community to be a part of.
Okay. And why should Fulton County residents vote for you on March 6th?
Because I'm going to be a visible leader in the community, and I've demonstrated that through being involved in a lot of community-oriented functions through the fire department, through the police department. I've developed some new programs at the Delta Police Department over the many years that I've been there that I've brought to the community, not only being based on the reactive nature of law enforcement, but the preventative nature of law enforcement. And I want to make Fulton County an example of what excellence in law enforcement can be, and bring some professional pride back to just what it is a rural law enforcement agency can offer to their citizens.
Okay. And then I just want to give you the chance to, say anything that you would like the voters to keep in mind when they go to cast their vote on Tuesday, March 6th.
Just that I'm the person that's going to be there. I'm going to be the law enforcement leader that they can get in contact with, that they're going to see as being part of their community. I have concerns in the community just as they do. I have family I'm raising in this community, and I'm concerned about the things that are affecting our families and the different criminal aspects that are moving out our way from the more urban areas. And I'm going to be the person that's not afraid to break down the walls of our different communities here and reach across the table, shake other hands, and say, let's work together to solve our problems.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come talk to us. It was nice
Thank you very
meeting
much. Thank you very much.
Yep. Hello and welcome back. I am now with Rory Miller, who is up for election for Fulton County Sheriff. Hi, Rory. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having us here.
Good. Thanks for coming. So, what city do you currently reside in?
Delta, Ohio.
Delta? Okay. How long have you lived in Fulton County?
43 years.
Okay. And can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
I was native of Lyons, born outside of Lyons, obviously raised up there. I'm married to my wife, Kathy Miller, 21 years. I have 4 children. I've been involved with coaching softball, soccer, 4-H activities. And I'm also a member of the St. Casper's Catholic Church, Knights of Columbus, Farm Bureau, Fulton County Historical Society, so some other things.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about your professional life?
My professional life, I graduated from Columbus State in 1990 with a degree in law enforcement. Hired part-time with the Sheriff's Office here in Fulton County in 1990, the fall of 1990, and then full-time in 1991. So I've been there at the Sheriff's Office for 21 years, and in 2004 I had the opportunity to go to the FBI National Academy for 10 weeks for leadership course. So.
Okay, cool. And why do you personally feel it's so important to be Fulton County Sheriff?
I believe that it's important, personally, to be important to be the Fulton County Sheriff because You know, through the investment that the office and, you know, not only you but taxpayers have invested in me in leadership schools and the FBI National Academy and the many positions that I've served in, you know, that I think I have the experience to, you know, to be a new leader at the sheriff's office. And as sheriff, you need to make sure, you know, your staff is current with the criminal trends that are going on. Getting them some specialized training that they need and keep updated on the laws. I think the most important goal of all as the county sheriff is to make sure that the citizens of Fulton County, you know, feel that they're safe and they have a safe place to live and raise a family.
Sure. What are some of your favorite things about living in Fulton County?
This was the most fun one. I really enjoyed it. That was a good question. I think the volunteerism that I see in the community is amazing, not only for like things like the Imagination Station, but when bad things happen in Fulton County, like the tornadoes that came through, you know, it's one thing that you see things on TV, you know, in another state or another world, and you're not there to see it, but when disaster actually hits Fulton County, it is neat and humbling to see how so many people give of their time and skills to help other people in need, and it's amazing. But the Fulton County Fair is another one that I like. That's always a good one. The small community festivals, the fireworks, and I also like you know, the fact that Fulton County seems to have a balance between industry and agricultural communities.
Yeah,
so
I have to agree. And why should Fulton County residents vote for you on March 6th?
First of all, you know, the current sheriff, who's been there 27 years, he's endorsing me. So he obviously thinks that I'm capable of doing the job. He's seen my work. I'm the most qualified for the job and experience, again, working back at the sheriff's office, having the leadership schools that I've been to, you know, through the National FBI Academy, and serving in obviously those positions before. I will be, you know, I will continue to be tough on crime. We got to continue to be tough on drugs. I'd like to work on crimes with children. I work most of the sex abuse cases. Another deputy that we work with children's services on working sex abuse cases. So, you know, that's a big priority. Protecting the elderly. We've worked on doing that, going out and trying to educate them on mailings that they get or phone calls that they get on scams. You know, being tough on crime could be many things, and I'll expand on that a little bit. You know, that resolves back to starting out on the road deputies having the training and the tools that they need, you know, in order to do, whether it be interview skills when you're speaking with somebody, you know, getting information from those people in the proper way, collecting the evidence in the proper way, and putting together a good solid case for the people or the victims here in Fulton County, and then presenting that to the prosecutor. You know, a lot of times people think once it gets into the system, I know we send out notices to the victims, kind of keep them updated when the next trial date or when the next pre-trial date's going to be and stuff like that. So we try to keep the victims involved. You know, to the best of, you know, what our ability is, and you know, sometimes being tough on crime is once the case is over, they're placed on parole, placed on probation. If it's a sex offense, sometimes they register with me. I take care of the sex offender registration at the office also. Those guys abscond, or girls, sometimes they abscond, and they think just because they leave Ohio they're safe. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the case. We're working with, right now we're working with the U.S. Marshals. We got a guy out in Oklahoma that's absconded on a parole and sex failure to register. We have a guy out in California that's locked up on a burglary from Fayette. But just because you leave Fulton County doesn't mean you're safe. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's why we continue to go out and get those people and bring them back and make them face, you know, the consequences here in Fulton County, because personally I believe that leaves, you know, when those people talk with other people, you got to be kidding me, Fulton County went all the way to California to get you to bring you back for this. Yeah. It was something that was done. We have victims here that, you know, and we need to follow through. Exactly. So that's, you know, that's part of it. You know, as far as the drugs go, we continue to work on the drugs side of it with the information that we get. You know, we deal a lot with taking a lot of heroin off of the streets this year. We've taken down a lot of grow operations this year. I was personally assigned to do the marijuana eradication this year, and we flew on two different occasions. We've flew Fulton County and ended up pulling 346 marijuana plants out of the local area fields here in Fulton County. Now that's just what we found in 2 days. You know, if we could have missed some, you know, or people call in when they're harvesting and got 2 or 3 plants over there. But you know, 346 plants, and I think the state of Ohio, BCI&I, puts $1,000 a plant on them. You know, so that's a big chunk of money.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to do that. I will make the necessary changes at the office as needed. You know, we'll look at things, and if something's needs to be changed, and we'll sit down and make it as a staff. We'll look down. You know, sure, the boss always has the final say so, but I think we'll sit down and talk about it more, and we'll make necessary changes as needed. I think it's important to have a well-trained staff. As I said earlier, some of those will work into specialized training. Obviously, everybody can't be a computer guru or whatever have you. I mean, you know, you can only have so many people doing so many things. But I think we should sit down, you know, with each and every one of the deputies there, and you know, what's your interest? You know, some people might not like doing a traffic accident. Some people might like doing it. You know, well then we'll give you that person training towards, you know, a little more of the accident investigation side of it. But you know, the basic thing is we got to have well-rounded deputies there, so they got to have a lot of the basic stuff. You know, as far as, you know, the ticket writing, the traffic accident investigation, the basic interview skills and stuff like that. We'll make sure they get them, but we will give them some more specialized training. Building we need to continue to build on networks, communication between local, state, and federal agencies as far as information gets passed along. It's very important. Obviously, as you know, I just mentioned earlier, you know, the U.S. Marshals are helping us with getting people out of state. We have a cargo theft down in Memphis, Tennessee, linked back to Fulton County. So it's very important that we keep these networks open and share information not only with the state, but the local authorities too. I mean, all of us are here. We're all in the same sandbox doing the same job. So we need to be a little more open with that. So, but I think, you know, as sheriff, you know, I personally will serve to the best of my ability, serve Fulton County.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. Well, I'll let you have the spotlight for a little bit. Is there any last words that you would like the voters to keep in mind when they go to cast their vote on March 6th?
You know, I thought about it a little bit, but I'm the only candidate with any experience at the sheriff's office. Again, I have 21 years there, deputy, investigator, lieutenant, chief deputy. And in those positions, I've seen all kinds of things. I've been involved, you know, with a homicide, double homicides, suicides, serial arsonists. I don't know if you remember the arsonist that was going around burning churches and buildings, and I've been involved in that. So, you know, I see all sides of that. I've been on both sides of the table, so I think I know what it takes to find a happy medium to try to keep people happy. And you know, and keep it a good workplace and make that office one of the best offices in Ohio. And I think by having that experience, I think it'd be, you know, would make it a smooth transition into my new position.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Welcome back. I am now with Paul McDonald, who is up for re-election of Fulton County Clerk of Courts. How are you doing today, Paul?
Good, Angie. Thanks for having me.
Good. Thanks for coming. So what city do you currently reside in?
I live here in Wauseon. Been here almost 27 years now.
Okay. So have you always lived in Wauseon then?
No. Home is Leipzig, Ohio.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Karen and I have been married for just over 30 years this January. We have 2 children, Curtis, who is married and lives in Marysville, Ohio, and he's a mechanical engineer for Scott's. Jenny is a school teacher, and she works down at Middleburg, Florida, and she's a first grade teacher down there.
Cool.
Karen and I are both members of Christ United Methodist Church here in Wauseon ever since we've come here. I have a older brother, Greg. He's 4 years older. He lives in Cement City, Michigan.
Okay.
I have a younger brother, Randy, who's 18 months younger, and he lives over in Defiance, Ohio, and they are both retired. Mother is still living, and she's still in Leipzig, and my dad died 3 years ago.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about your professional life?
I graduated from International Junior Business College with an associate degree in accounting. I started out at Metal Forge over in Daschler, Ohio in the office doing time keeping and local purchasing work. When the auto industry had its first big layoff, I think it was back in like '75, I got laid off there and found a job over in Findlay at Hancor Incorporated, which is a tile drainage corporation. I started out there as a night computer operator. I later became the computer of operations supervisor there, where I managed 3 key punch people. I was in charge of making sure that invoicing got done, payroll. I communicated with 12 different plants across the nation. And I also started to learn how to program at that point.
Okay.
I left there and headed to Kenton, Ohio, and I ran the computer department down there at the hospital.
Okay.
I did that for 4 years, did programming there. I assisted the controller with some accounting duties also. I left there and I wanted to learn how to program more, and I joined a consulting firm up in Adrian, Michigan, and that's when we moved to Wauseon. And I worked for the consulting agency for 4 years, and that was essentially programming and going out and installing computer system. I left there and went across town in Adrian to Marillac Kitchen Cabinets. I worked there for 6 years and doing programming. The first part of that was I worked on the plant side of the programming side. Then they came to me and asked me if I would be in charge of programming for their distribution centers across the nation. So I had 5 distribution centers to be in charge of for that, and had to install the computers for that and go out and install the software. Then an opportunity came up to do programming for the corporate office accounting department. So I worked with the accounting department. After 6 years, I left there and went to Archbold and worked at Frozen Specialties, the pizza plant. I started out programming there, eventually was put in a management position there and ran the department there, and installed software and did programming and did month-end reporting. My position was eliminated there. I then started got a job at Solder Woodworking, and I worked out on the pack line for 6 months. And then Bill Drummer and Brian DeRose from Certified Document Destruction came to me and asked me if I would come work for them and help them out in their sales department and in the office. And so I said yes, I would give that a shot. So I did that for a year, and then the Deputy Registrar's position became available. So I applied for that, was fortunate to get that, so I ran my own business through the License Bureau for 3 years.
Wow.
And then Mary approached me about the Clerk of Courts position.
Wow, that is quite a list of a resume.
Been around.
Yeah, so why do you personally feel it's so important to be Fulton County Clerk of Courts?
Well, I was very honored and humbled when Mary came and asked me if I would consider the clerk of court's position.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity.
She told me that with my past job experience and computer background that I would be a good candidate for the position.
Great. So why should Fulton County residents vote for you on March 6th?
I would say because of my past job experiences and my current experience of being the clerk. Since I've been in there, in the title office, we've updated the computer that they have with a new monitor, wireless keyboard and mouse. We've updated their copy machine. We've updated the phone answering, helping out with that a little bit. The equipment that is in there at each staff member's desk is state equipment. There's the state computers, the state scanners, and state printers that we have no control over. And right now the state is in the process of updating their automated title processing system. We're hoping to have that in place by June, and the staff will be doing training hopefully starting in March.
Okay.
In the clerk's office, we've updated a lot of the manual reports to either Excel spreadsheets or Word documents. We get calls for notary information, so they would have to get up and go look in a book. So we talked about that a little bit, and I said, well, what if I just key in these names into a spreadsheet? We can search for them that way. So I sat down and keyed over 1,000 notary names into a spreadsheet so we could get a faster response to the person on the phone, and if they needed to, then we indexed it so they know what book to go look at to get more information. We also have, I've updated and worked with the jury commission. I asked the Board of Elections if they could download a file of all the jury members that we were about to select, and they said yes. So I've put that into a spreadsheet, and within that, using Word mail merge, been able to help Cindy out and save her time of printing all the addresses on the actual envelope versus putting them on labels, and then she would spend hours putting labels on envelopes. So that's been a big help, and plus we use that also to send out jury notices and make up employer certificates with that for each juror. Also, I implemented a prison collection, and all we have to do is when a prisoner is going to prison, state prisons, we send a letter to the state prison telling them what they owe the county for court cost. Then they keep track of that. They send us a check, I believe about once a month, if the account of that person has more than $15 in their account. We have access to that amount of money, and we get money from that account. Some of them have been quite large, but then there's others that just trickle in, but at least we're collecting something. We're also in the process right now of working with the Eastern and Western District Courts, looking at some new software that will, in the years to come, save the county some money.
Wow.
So
made a lot of improvements.
Yeah, we're busy.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite things about living in Fulton County?
It's kind of neat that each town here in Fulton County has some type of a festival or festivals throughout the year. Also the fact that Fulton County has great parks in their town. That's what one of the things that Karen and I noticed when we moved into Wauseon, that so many parks that we have here in town. Also, one of the great things here in Fulton County is the fact that we have a great county fair, one of the best.
Yes, very true.
And also, as we're talking right now for this interview, one of the great things throughout Fulton County is the heart radiothon going on right now.
Yep, it is going on today, isn't it?
Yep.
Very cool. So I'm just going to let you have the mic for a moment. Do you have any final words or anything that you'd like the voters to keep in mind when they go to cast their vote on March 6th?
Yeah, thanks, Angie. I love my job. I have two great staffs in the title office and in the clerk's office. I'm being endorsed by State Senator Cliff Height from Findlay. I'm also being endorsed by State Representative Lynn Watchman, and also former County Clerk of Courts Mary Geip. I would just ask for your support. Vote for experience on March the 6th. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thanks, Angie.
Yep.